Joy 99.7 FM.
The women gather, we're having a conversation. Now, we woke up last week to a trending controversy involving a foreign man and some Ghanaian women. Now, it has sparked heated conversations across social media. Allegations of secret recordings, manipulation, blood consent have left the public divided, with some expressing outrage, others asking difficult questions about attraction, about trust, personal responsibility. You name it. Now, this evening on Strong and Sassy, we take a deeper look beyond the trends. And we're asking how perceived status, race, or foreign appeal influence our dating choices. Is this a wake-up call about intentional, emotional awareness and digital safety in today's dating culture? Well, it's an interactive show, and so share your thoughts with us via WhatsApp 055 1111 997. That's 055 1111 997. And if we're able to get some more time, we might activate the phone lines for you to join in. My name is aKorfa, and I appreciate your time this evening. Shows produced by Mirabel Johnson and Anita Tay. We're live across our social media platforms. We're on Facebook, X, and YouTube, and Oliver's making that possible. Now, joining me in studio today, my producer decided to, assemble like some Avengers, be like that. Yeah, yes. Joining me in studio, we've got Ama Ablode. Ama is a media and marketing consultant and entrepreneur. Ama Nabia Boachidankwa will be joining me pretty shortly. She's a creative director at Bassinets and more. And joining us via Zoom is Dr. Efe Planche, who's assistant professor of rhetoric and gender advocates. Good evening, ladies. Can anyone hear me? Hi.
Good evening, aKorfa.
Good evening.
How are you?
I'm doing okay. Efe, how are you doing?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
Thank you very much for joining us. Now, while Nabia is trying to, sort herself out and join us in studio, let's start off, by finding out, because we don't really have much time. Now, when ladies assemble like this, sometimes we like to go deeper into conversation. So I'm pretty sure that we've got a lot to say. But what were your initial thoughts? Let me start with Efe, with you on this one. What were your initial thoughts when the news broke?
I mean, obviously, for me, the initial, reaction, the initial feeling or emotion was how unfair it was to the women, that they were secretly, recorded and, the footage circulated. I thought as a woman, we've all been in certain really interesting, weird situations. We've all trusted, certain love, interest, and prospects. It's just the reality of OMG. This could really easily happen to anyone, because if you're not aware of the meta glasses and what it's capable of doing, like anybody, this could be anybody, this could be any of us. So for me, it was really that the instant reaction was the instant breach of consent and privacy. The women may have consented to sex, and we can all have our views about the nature of that encounter, but then they consented to sex. They didn't consent to their images and their footages being taken and then circulated. Okay. So as a woman, I just thought about how unfair that was to the women.
Right.
And then I think we can talk about the other issues, but that was my initial reaction.
We'll do that. Well, Amma, let me come to you as well. Your initial thoughts and reactions.
Yeah, aKorfa. I was torn between, oh my God, I'm so pained for these ladies, they're victims, and then being upset with the the commentary
Commentary, oh
online,
my God.
particularly from the men. I was so upset. And thankfully, I've gotten to a point in my life where I've decided to be less reactional. Like, no, people don't, move me that quickly for me to express myself. I just realize, I just tell myself, okay, now this is the kind of stuff this person is made of.
Right.
Just bear that in mind if you ever have to deal with this person, you know who the person is, and believe the person for being that. So that was my initial reaction. I actually tried to draw people's attention to see things from a different perspective. I made a video and posted on my TikTok, and very interesting response from the men. They were again thinking that I was just trying to shield these women from accountability and everything. Meanwhile, all I said was, are you even sure that all the women whose pictures and videos who've been identified to have been part of this guy's scheme, are you even sure that he actually got intimate with all of them?
Right.
Or you're just running with the assumption that he actually did? Did anybody get to see an actual intimate video besides the video where he was talking to them and some of them ended up in an apartment with him? Because you can be in a certain space with somebody. Heck, you can even lie in bed with somebody and still leave there without actually getting any action done. So, I questioned. I'm like, are you sure you're not running with an assumption?
Right.
And that gave me some really harsh words. I got some harsh words from men, but I was expecting it, so I wasn't too surprised. Some went as far as leaving comments saying I must have been one of the girls, or that's how I behave. And I'm like, oh well, thankfully I'm not your mom, so I'm not that. Yeah, and that's always hard to hit them, hard, because such men, they always think the only people exempted from how they think of women are their mothers and their daughters. I say their sisters are 50%. Yeah, it's only their mom and their daughters that they like to exclude.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Ama Nabia Boachidankwa is joining us in studio finally. Hi, Ama, you good? Can you turn the thing on? Let it be green. Let's see. Yeah. Is it green?
I think it's green.
It's green.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay.
Right. So I was asking, our ladies what the initial thoughts were and reactions were. So I would like you to also share yours with me.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. My initial thoughts, actually, when I started reading, when I saw the article from one of the news portals, then I started checking people's comments. I was laughing because I was expecting the usual, it's the ladies' fault, we are cheap, we are substandard, we are below average. But what I want to tell people is revenge porn, it doesn't earn anybody brownies. The fact you decided to sleep with me, then later on magically assume that, oh, she's cheap. What does that make you? That means you are cheap as well. Because you could have decided to go to Trasaco or sorry for mentioning Trasaco, but go to anybody or any place which is deemed
high end.
Thank you. You didn't go there. Then you came to Nabia land and came to do your thing with me. Then you decided that, oh, Nabia is cheap. It is you and I who are cheap. It's you and I who are substandard, And what I know people won't get it, but it will come eventually. Revenge porn is punishable by law. If you are somebody who is well read, you know about the Giselle Pellicou case in France.
Yeah.
It was her own husband. For 10 solid years, dragged this woman.
Right.
And he had videos, and he had picked, and he invited men.
An infection.
Thank you, to come and do that to her. You know how he got caught? It's the same thing as Wafarashia. He went to the mall and was taking her husband and was taking pictures and videos of girls in skirts. And was the police, the girls who saw it and went to actually called 911, like they are 911, and they came to arrest him. It was the officer at the station who took his phone and was going through his gallery, said, but who is this woman who is lying down, So she came to bail her husband. And he showed it to her that, oh, we saw this, but it looks like you. She said, me? From where? My point is, long story short, we are not cheap. If you feel that at this point you've come to do your thing and now we are cheap, you are the one who pursued us. whether it is with ice cream, whether it's with yogurt,
Had
whether
to
it's
pay
with
for an
water.
apartment.
You didn't
Had
even
to
choose.
buy a meta glass.
Thank you. You didn't even choose it.
that trouble.
Proper people who claim they're expensive, don't go and sleep in cheap ass Airbnb. By now, you have gone to look for some poolside, some beachfront, and you will take me there. But the fact that you reduced your level this way, you came to entice me. Yes, we can come to the enticement later. But my point is, nobody is cheap here.
All right, thank you very much. Now, so now I will apologize. Now used inappropriate language on the So we'll be measuring,
I'm quiet.
our reactions. Thank you very much. Now, Ife, let me come to you on this one. So, is there such a thing as, say, foreign advantage, okay, in dating, especially in African societies like Ghana? Because I think a few of the commentary rolled in that area. What do you say to that?
Oh, definitely. I mean, definitely for, I would say, the average woman still maybe in Ghana who hasn't had a certain level of exposure. I mean, you can trace it all the way back to the fact that we were colonized. I mean, people like to think that it was a long time ago, but no, the remnants are still there, if we are going to be honest. So after so many years and so many decades of being programmed psychologically to view whiteness as better, as more value, as from even our high schools, our boarding high schools, where white kids will come, and then all of us will be forced to cut our hair, and then they will be allowed to leave their hair. From a lot of music videos back in the day, privileging fair skin, lighter skin. There's so many professions in Ghana where back in the day, like front desk women, TV show hosts, and things like that, where if you were not light skinned, you didn't have an advantage of movies. There's so many advertisements. Even recently, for a long time, I would say though, let's give our Ghanaian artists some props. For a long time, we've seen those privileging of fairness, right, go down a little bit. We've seen a lot of visibility for dark-skinned women in our arts, right? But recently, was it last year or 2 years ago, came Paluta's Makoma. He released the audio. We enjoyed it. It trended for so long, and then when he finally released the music video, it was a half-caste woman that he used as his love interest. It was so personal. There were so many women I know that why don't you also say, and then you go and privilege it. So it's those subtle messaging in our society and in our environment that teaches us that whiteness is better, fair skin is better. And if you haven't traveled these days, the economic hardship in Ghana is so hard that everybody's looking for an escape. It's not just these women, even the men, the young men now. There's a whole epidemic of young African men in Nigeria, Ghana, other African countries that are, settling for these older foreign women, grandmothers, Obolo twins. They are coming here for our young men because everybody is looking for a way to escape the hardship. Some are using schools, some are using all kinds of means. And dating and relationships and dating foreigners is one of the ways. So there is that privilege. And maybe for some of these women, because of their lack of exposure, they haven't come to terms with the fact that somebody being white alone doesn't mean that they carry some kind of value, right? Even I've been in the US for over 10 years now. My own mom will be like, oh, when are you bringing us our half-caste grandchildren? There's still that subtle, even when we are joking, there's still that subtle privileging of whiteness. Even when we are elevating dark-skinned women and singing about their beauty, what do we liken them to? What does that even mean? Tuntun broni. You are elevating and celebrating the Black woman, but you are still you're teaching us that at the end of the day, the epitome of beauty, right, is whiteness. So there's those subtle messaging, there's a lack of exposure, there's all kind of factors, but there are still, there's so many factors. People are trying to escape, our country for better opportunities. They see somebody that is a resident of some of these countries as, an immediate ticket out there. Sometimes so I think it's just that curiosity. And I think that we have a collective, Ghana is very popular. One of the reasons people like Ghana is that we are friendly, we are hospitable, all of that. But I think we need to start putting that in check. There's a collective cultured humility and friendliness and hospitality that we have we have to put in check. Just because somebody is a foreigner, then we accord them so much grace, so much open. We are so free with them. We want them to feel welcome. A lot of these women, I'm sure if it was a random African man, black man on the streets that called them, they would probably look at him up and down. And that, but then because it was a white man, so it's all of these things. Yes, there's that subtle privileging of whiteness. It factors into dating, but I think there are so many factors that makes it relevant. If you don't have a lot of exposure, it's going to mean something to you. If you're not in a really good place, economic stability, if you don't have economic stability, then you're vulnerable, right? You start seeing these things, and then you ignore and overlook a lot of safety measures that you would typically take if the person wasn't white. So I think in thinking about these women and reviewing this case, we need to factor in all of those things.
Right. Well, it's 7 right here on Joy 99.7 FM. If you're just joining us, it's Strong and Sassy, and we're diving into our conversation tonight. Foreign men, fast lifestyles, and false promises. What are we really attracted to? So joining me is got Dr. Ife Planche. We have Ama Blode in studio, and also we have Nabia in studio here as well. Now, I want us to also get into what Ife mentioned. I'm coming to you, Ama, on this one. She's mentioned a lot of factors, and how this whole white supremacy thing some sort of informs this dating. Like, where did we get it from? Like, where's that mindset coming from?
Well, I think, like she said, our colonial history.
Oh, God.
We like to think that it's way behind us, but it's not. We are living in the relics of it. It's all around us. We haven't been very intentional in growing past it or looking past it. If you look at the state of even NCC, National Civic Commission on Education, or Civic Education or something, they are, what I believe, very much underfunded. So they are not even in the position to ensure that people are truly being raised to be patriotic, to be pro-Ghanaian, to be pro-African, to be proud of themselves. We are lacking so many things. Quite recently, online, we all had to join in the debate concerning whether girls should keep their hair or cut it. Like, it's 2026, and you still think that when girls cut their hair, they are easier to control, or like it still doesn't make sense. They're not thinking about the long-term implications of these things on us, because everybody thinks it's not a big deal. I mean, we are thinking about food to eat, access to they don't think this is very important. Meanwhile, who we grow up to be, our very being, is very much dependent on how we feel about ourselves, what we know about ourselves, and and the boundaries we set to people. Like she said, we are raised to be hospitable. Anytime I think about my early years studying social studies, I remember the one line, they tell us Ghanaians are hospitable people. It always rings in my mind. And I'm constantly thinking of how to give a good impression to a foreigner so that they leave knowing that, Ghanaians are indeed hospitable people. So yes, it's very, we are raised to think of even a visitor before you think about yourself.
Yeah.
We grew up in homes where the Pyrex bowls were kept for visitors. And we got to use the 5-5 plates. When visitors come in, we bring in our fine china to serve them. So when you're raised like this, and for somebody like me who grew around the sea, to where a lot of the white folks will come to, you see the reaction that as kids you'd give them, because at the time white people were like, you don't see them often unless you've traveled before. You don't really get to see a white person. So it's kind of strange. And oh my God, they have the fine hair you've been watching on that telenovela that is on prime time. Prime time. And it's placed above the local content. So you see it every time you wake up. You are thinking of how to look like them. So are you surprised that we spend millions or hundreds of millions of dollars to import another person's hair? And I'm talking as somebody who used to wear wigs too. Okay, until I decided to lock my hair. But it's coming from somewhere.
Yeah.
Some people will tell you, oh, it's not. But who are we kidding?
Yeah.
We've been raised, indoctrinated, whether directly or indirectly, to be like this.
Right.
Look at how we dress.
I get you. I get you. Well, Nabia, let me come to you on this one. In today's social media era, yeah, why do some people feel the need to secretly record intimate moments? I know it's the for me.
This question is twofold. Let me attempt. The first one is, it comes back to what I said, revenge porn. People walk around with this, I don't know, it's like a backhanded thought that, I'll show you eventually. I would embarrass you eventually. I'll humiliate you. I'll show you. So their thought, immediate thought when something happens or something goes wrong is, I have her nudes. I'll expose you. And that's the favorite one. I'll expose you, you know. And because when you are in that false position of power of I'll expose you, get likes, you get comments, you trend, you become what the popular one, your so-called online friends and family will egg you on. People think it's fine. People think it's okay, you know. And it has made people who, you know, there are couples that you see, you can't, what's the word? I meet a guy or a guy meets me and we decide to do our thing, right? You cannot decide what I want to do. And this is not about I know my right or whatever. I can decide to share my nudes with my boyfriend, with my husband, you know. He's the one at that particular moment that I feel I'm with, I want to be with, you know. Why should there be a problem and you will get up and you feel that it is okay to come onto the social media in this case and come and expose me? If you have a problem with Nabia, like, why is that your first resort? It's for me, I think it's because of the false sense of power they have, that once you share, you get 100,000 clicks, people will be talking about you. Today we've got Ife, today we've got Nabia, today we've got Nabia. She's too known. Who does she think she is? That's for me is the only reason why you will not feel shame, you will not feel embarrassment that why am I doing this to my fellow human being? You know, it's for me it's a false sense of power.
Right.
You know, I think it's also because, you know, generally women are shamed over these things.
But why are we shamed
compared to men? You know, like women are expected to be to uphold purity.
Yes.
Virginity for women is a big deal. A man can go and you're supposed to even gain experience. Who is he supposed to gain it with?
On who?
Like with whom?
Yes.
If all the women are supposed to be like this, but the men are supposed, how are they supposed to do so? You know, but so they hold women to higher standards, and that's why they're like, oh, this is how to get the woman, because everybody expects her to be like this. So if I want to shame her, this is the best way I can go about it to shame her. And that's why they would always, you know, go to that. Like, you see the commentary from the men. One thing that shocked me was that I noticed they were upset not because this foreigner came and took advantage of these women, and they were not even upset because it was immoral. They were upset the women didn't let them be the one to do it to
And
them.
that was so surprising.
The upset was that it wasn't me, your fellow Ghanaian, your neighbor, that got to do this to you.
Yes.
Another man, because he's light skinned, because he said he's Russian, he got to do this to you. And that was the shocking part. I'm like, so you're not upset that they had a one-night stand with somebody. That's not what you're upset about. You're upset you were not the one, because they kept comparing how they were buying food, they were in three months talking stage, and you'll be asking so much of them, and you know,
This
women
one
will be
came and
expecting
said,
so much
"Follow
of
me."
this person says follow me. And then they so you're just upset that you couldn't get her to follow you by you just saying follow me. Wow.
But
Yeah.
it also speaks to the hypocrisy in our men, right? So we just ended Valentine's Day, and immediately we entered February. They were crying on social media, complaining about how women have turned Val's Day into this thing where they expect so much from their men, yada yada. The men were complaining about how they are bailed and all of that. So on one hand, they complain about how relationships have become materialistic, transactional in nature. And then on the other hand, they are disappointed that these women just saw this white man, and after a few words, they were open to laying down, with him. So which is which? Do you value women more when you invest in them, when you spend on them, when they stretch you and make you suffer for it first? Or have you progressed, you yourself as men, have you progressed enough to not regard a woman as less, or not think her as less worthy just because she shared, her body with you? Like, you guys had this moment where she fancied you enough, and, you guys lay down and enjoy this. Because sex, fundamentally, first of all, sex is a basic human right for adults, right? And if you regard women as human beings too, with autonomy, with rights, with the right to pleasure, and as a group of people that are deserving of our collective protection and responsibility, then your point of interest shouldn't be that these women just follow this man with little minimum effort, right? Why is that? Why are you calling us cheap because, this guy didn't do anything much, and then these women followed him? It's because as a society, our men need to sit down this weekend. They are all going to sit down with their boys. They need to sit down and be honest with themselves and confront their own view of women. Do you regard women more when you spend on them, when you invest on them? Or you yourselves, have you evolved enough to not see a woman as less simply because she had sex? Because as a society, we've created this narrative around sex that is shameful for women. The same act that is shameful for women is the same act that men use to elevate themselves and their statuses in front of their, in the midst of their fellow men, right? The same act, an act that is supposed to be mutually benefiting, mutually pleasurable. That same act reduces one person's value, and then that same act elevates the other's value. So the men themselves need to sit with themselves, because they are confusing us as women. They contribute to making it so difficult to relate with them. And a lot of men need to develop a certain self-awareness, right? Because a lot of them are so sure that the only reason no woman likes them or no woman is allowing them to have sex with them is because they are broke. That's a lie.
It's a lie.
So many
It's a
broke
very
men, so
big
many
lie.
men that
They
are still
think it all
struggling and
starts in
still
intimacy.
building,
No,
are
of course, money is
having
good, but there's
beautiful
so many things.
relationships with women. Some of them are also sure that the only reason no woman is having sex with them is because they're ugly. That's a lie. The only reason no woman is having sex with them is because they don't have money or this or that. That is a lie. And so if you're a man and you struggle with getting women to feel safe enough and fancy you enough and like you enough where they can, share themselves with you and you guys can have sex and enjoy yourselves, without any even strings attached or without any expectations, you need to sit down with yourself and develop a certain sense of awareness. It's not because you're ugly. It's not because you're broke. It's not because you're not famous. It's not because of all of these things. So stop projecting your bitterness and insecurities onto us women. I think rather you should sit down and realize that, oh, wow, it's not, maybe I've been told I need to work on my money and get more money as a guy, and any woman I like, I can have it. That is the lie they're telling you guys. So if you think all you have to worry about is money, maybe now sit down and reevaluate. How can I work on my charisma, my personality, how I approach women? Okay, now we can factor in the fact that the only reason this guy got away with how he got, access to these women is because he was white. But remove the whiteness from there. Remove the fact that he was white. No self-respecting man, no man that values women and regards women's safety and takes it as a priority will approach women in this manner on the street. So as a man, you to check on the way you approach women, your fellow Ghanaian women, because I've been in the US for 10 years and I've seen how our men complain about, see women from other cultures, they are so, they are not so uptight, they are easygoing, they are open-minded, but if it's your fellow Ghanaian woman that doesn't require much from you and she just likes you enough to sleep with you, you will call her cheap. They'll go to South Africa for work, they'll travel abroad for work, and they'll be talking about all their sexual escapades and be praising these women as being sexually positive, sexually forward, sexually progressive. But if it's your own Ghana girl, your own Ghana woman, you see them in a different light. So the men need to start confronting their own double standards And, some of the narratives that they hold on to, that just makes this whole process complicated for both parties.
And aKorfa, you remember I said that there's this thing where men put their moms and their daughters and say their sisters are 50%. You see how a man will suddenly be very protective when his friend wants to date his sister. Because suddenly he's like, oh, no, because he knows how they talk and how they act amongst themselves. And he's like, no, I don't want you to do this with my sister, because then you're going to put her in the file where you've put other people's sisters. So this, our perceptions and how the standards we put on women compared to men is what brings us to this place.
Right.
We can also talk about the safety, the disregard for security. That's my concern with these women.
Yeah.
And
I want us to talk about that one later, because it was something that I was getting to, but I want us to touch on this before we do get there, as in why society often, rush to blame women first in situations like this. Then we can all get to the, were they being responsible part. I want to start with you, Amma. What do you make of that? Because any time there's a conversation about, there's a sex tape, there's a leak, there's this, the first you find people asking, so the lady, like, how did she get herself there? Like, it's always questioning why the lady's in that space. That's the first thing they think about. And I'm asking myself, why? Like, why?
Like I said, in society, the expectations we have for women is different from that of what we from religion to our traditional to our home setting. The responsibilities placed on women are always completely different. We expect the woman to remain chaste by the time she's getting till she's married, and when you are married, you're supposed to be the one to build the home, be very accommodating of whatever excesses that your husband may bring on board. You are the one supposed to be forgiving, sometimes even raise the other children he has outside. Like, there's so much expected. But when a woman has one child outside, or even goes as far as just entertaining a friend outside, nothing, physical happening between them, that alone could cost her marriage and the family she's built. So the standard set for women is completely different from that of men. Men, in fact, are encouraged to be adventurous and have some fun and come with some trophies. Go and sow your wild oats. But a woman, you're not supposed to. Like I asked earlier, who exactly are these men supposed to sow these wild oats with?
Robots.
Who are they supposed to do it with?
Robots.
So this unfairness, this hypocrisy is actually what brings us where we are. Right. I think that yes, I'm all for women being having their own agency, choosing what they want to do when they want to do it, but do it bearing in mind the consequences and being ready to face what the society is. I'm not saying you should listen to what society has got to say, though. You've got one life to live. But make choices knowing that the consequences or the rewards of it, you would be the main person to endure either of it.
Right. Well, now, we're shifting, if we're talking about shifting conversation from, say, shame to accountability, what are you saying to that? Because I think that's where we get into how responsible are you being as a woman when you're interacting with these men. Let's talk about that.
For me, the big thing for me in all this, first of all, let me just say that if a group of women have found themselves in this position, it doesn't mean all Ghanaian women are cheap, because that was what I was seeing.
Yes.
All Ghanaian women, you are cheap. Hey, please. Me, I wasn't there. I don't think I'm.
Of course, the person I won't do that. I've not done that.
So
I don't know why they will refer to me like that.
Hey.
I'm very certain I will not find myself
in that position.
Yet I also had to suffer some because I'm a Ghanaian woman. But it starts from Ghanaian woman, then African woman.
I thought I was going to start. I was like, hey, so it has moved anyway. But please, I'm using this medium to tell people, please, don't classify all Ghanaian women as cheap. That's number one. Number two, the big issue for me was the safety, because I don't see anything wrong with somebody who decides to see a man one night and decides that, okay, I want to be with you, or maybe the talking stage is 2 days, 3 days. That is their prerogative. But in this stage of organ harvesting, look at the baby who was stolen fresh after birth. There's so many weird things happening. People are harvesting livers, kidneys, and all of that. And you see a man, I'm not even saying white man, you see a man, and he says, "Come with me," or says, "Come and see where I live," and you just go. Well, we didn't see any intimate videos. We don't even know if he really did what he says he's doing, because he might also be posing and trying to act like,
This is
yeah.
what my TikTok video was about. Where the men still insisted that after all the evidence, I used to like, what
Oh no, but there was no evidence. So there was no evidence apart from the few ones that you see that clearly there's a bed sheet, there's a towel, and a few of them twerking.
That nah.
But let's even say, but the rest of them, it was he just hello, hi, follow me, and all of that. But my big thing is, now the world is not what it is anymore, right? So for me, safety is key, right? Aside the organ harvesting and all, even where did you use protection? You know, did you use protection? Because HIV is there, AIDS is there, the full thing is there, all the STIs and all they are there. So what would you be looking for? What kind? I can't say what I want to say because you.
Yeah, I'll tell you to apologize to our listeners.
I'll say it. But what big O are you looking for? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
What big O are you looking for that you will not use protection? You will not at least do those ones for yourself.
Right.
You know, that for me was my thing. But if you meet a guy and you 1 day, 2 days, you want to check your how far. I mean, it's your problem. It's your thing. That's what you feel like. And as Ife was saying, we make sex look like it's some big thing for only the men to do, the men to explore. But we're also human beings. We also have blood. We also have feelings. And women are even more. If you look at the biology, if doctors will tell you the truth, even we are more active. We are the ones. So
it is only we. If we are being honest, if you're being honest here.
Yes. No, please go
women
ahead.
actually exist, our sexuality actually exists more for pleasure than actually procreation. Every time a man engages in any sexual act with himself alone, by himself, or with a woman, whether the woman is fertile or not, he is potentially producing material that could produce a baby. So men, their entire sexuality is tied to their procreation. But if you look at women, there's only a very short window in the month that we are fertile.
Yes.
That's a woman who's fertile.
Yes.
The rest of the month, the sex we have is just for pleasure.
Yes,
and
so
then
we are so emotional.
on top of that, our clitoris. The clitoris is the only body part in any human being.
This is where you
I mean,
it's the only body part.
Actual name.
It's the only
it should,
part
you should
in the
mention.
human anatomy that exists solely for pleasure.
Right.
Like it's so heightened. Like if only men would discover it and first of all find out
Well,
where it is.
I get where the shade is coming from. I get where the shade is
And
coming
then
from.
what is
I
mixed?
also wanted to get your thoughts on, FN is saying on the fact that, why society is in a hurry, is in a rush to always judge women in situations like this. Yeah, I wanted to get your take on that as well.
My take?
Yes.
Me? Okay. Yeah. So I mean, it boils down to the double standards. I think as a society, we haven't confronted the fact that we don't really regard women as human beings too, the way we think of men and attend to their needs and humanize them, extend them grace, extend them allowances and protection. We don't really regard women as human beings too, because fundamentally, if we do, then we need to understand that women have a right to pleasure, and it's okay for an adult woman to see a man and for whatever reason explore sex with him.
It's so okay.
Because of adventure, because of curiosity, because of whatever reason, period. That is where the conversation needs to start from. But I think that we shame women because we haven't done a good job also elevating men's own view of themselves. Men are allowed to be, what's it called? They're allowed to, explore, even in marriage, even after marriage. The way our society views even infidelity in men, even after marriage, it's like we still allow men. It's men. It's like their birthright. But the
That's how they
shaming
are.
happens because it then allows us. It doesn't make us take real responsibility and accountability for the fact that women are human beings, number one, but they are also they are a vulnerable group. together with children.
Right.
And as a society, we need to develop a collective sense of responsibility towards women and girls. Because if any Ghanaian man or Nigerian man or African man had gone anywhere to any Middle Eastern country or even to Russia to go with this agenda, to take camera and unsuspectingly record Russian women and publish it and edit these videos to suit a certain narrative. Do you know what would have happened to black men in Russia in a span of, do you know their lives would be in danger? That if a Ghanaian man or an African man should go and then come and put this thing on the internet to push a certain narrative, Russian men will not come out and say, our Russian women are cheap. That would not be their immediate reaction. They will not be calling their women cheap. So our men need to really confront their deep-seated lack of responsibility towards us as a collective. They don't have a sense of responsibility and protection towards us. Because again, they are centering themselves, their feelings, and their own bitterness towards women. But no, Ghana has been enjoying favorable PR, over the last few years, and then recently with iShowSpeed's spotlight on Ghana. And then for this to come in, that's embarrassing for all of us.
Yeah.
And so our men need to project that sense of care and value that they have towards us and say, hey, these are adult women having sex. The crime here is not sex. What is the real crime here is that a man left his country, traveled all the way to Ghana, took advantage of our women, right? And then put this narrative out there. That is where we need to start from. As for the shame, I think that our men, they need to come to terms with the fact that women are human beings too, and women are sexual beings. And if they are not getting laid, the problem is not coming from women. They need to, do some kind of self-reflection. Right. But our society needs to evolve. And this is where I think, for me, the gender ministry needs to come in. I don't like how the way we do gender work in Ghana is reactionary. We wait for things like this to happen before we react. It needs to be proactive and reactionary as well, meaning there's no way where these are adult women. These are not young women. These are not teenagers. These are not women in their early 20s. These are adult women. Some of them are married, some of them with kids.
Yeah.
These are women that, neglected, this total neglect for their own personal safety and awareness for the times that we are in. So all year round, what are we doing to raise awareness about technology, safety, data protection, and women? How women can better navigate their sexual and romantic lives in this day and age of social media.
While you're on that, let's also talk about the red flags that, women should never ignore when they're dealing with someone new as well. Yeah.
I mean, first of all, I think that no self-respecting man, the crime here is not that they had sex with a man on the first day they met him, or they had sex with a man after a few hours of meeting him. It's happening. It's normal. You can go to an event, a party, vibe with somebody, you like each other, it ends up in the bedroom that same night. It's happening. It's very, very normal. That's not the issue here. And I hope if there are women listening and they've ever found themselves in these situations, look, sex is your birthright. You're an adult person. As long as you know there are responsibilities and certain repercussions with sex, that's fine. But what was the question again?
I was asking about red flags that women should ignore when they meet people for the first time. Yeah,
exactly. So having sex on the first date or on the first meetup is not the issue. The issue is the approach, how a man would approach you. For me, the approach is very, very important. There's no way no self-respecting man and no man that regards women and their safety will approach women like this on the street. So for me, this is for those of us that are aware because of the work that we do. This is how sex traffickers and human traffickers and organ harvesters operate. So every woman needs to know that this approach is wrong. However, if you go to an event in the company of mutual friends, you meet this person through other people, you can verify their job. They've also got something to lose if they should misbehave, right? There are ways to navigate wanting to explore and have fun and, not be uptight about sex, right? So the approach matters. Number two, if you are going to be this reckless, right, with wanting to explore with somebody you just met on the street, it should not be in an environment that he controls. All these men went back to his place. That is dangerous. Either you are going to your place because it's an environment you can control, or a neutral place. Maybe both of you go to a hotel and then you book that space together. Then you can be in control of that environment and in that space. Because if they followed the way they followed this guy to his place, what if the minute you enter, he locks the door and 5 other men pop out from under the bed? And then, only God knows what could have happened. So the environment also matters. If it's somebody you are just meeting, the environment where the sex is happening matters. How you meet the person, the approach matters. And then everybody should educate themselves about technology these days. It's not just about the meta glasses. There's so many other ways, that people can secretly take footage of you. And then number 4, it's okay, like one of our ladies was saying in the beginning, that it's okay, to share stuff, intimate stuff with your partner, your lover, your boyfriend, your husband. It's okay. And these days, let's be honest, it's not just the slay queens and the bad girls that are doing this. So because of the way marriages are happening these days and people are traveling for greener pastures, for school, for work, so many married people rely on technology to make up for the physical absence. I'm sorry. So many people are having sex on phone.
True.
Through video calls. Even married people are relying on technology. So, but one thing we all need to be aware is we need to be with people who respect themselves and put our personal safety even above their own selfish needs. There are men that don't want you, encourage you to be doing certain things with them, but it's at their it's just to serve their selfish pleasures. There are some men that can say, hey, I know I would enjoy this later and I'll benefit from holding on to this, but it's not safe. If this ever comes out, this will be detrimental to you. So you should always be with people and engage with people. It doesn't mean they're your boyfriend. It's not about labels. It doesn't have to be a boyfriend, a husband, whatever. Anybody you lay with as a woman is somebody that should really have your protection, your safety, as a priority. And they go above and beyond to make sure that you feel safe. So there are partners, there are men that will never accept intimate photos. There are men that will never encourage you to send them intimate photos. There are men, because they can protect it, but for how long? These days, data can easily get out of hand. You can mistakenly send things to somebody else. You can mistakenly upload something on a platform that you were not meaning to. Your phone can get missing. So when men care about you, they put your safety first. So if you are with people and today we are in love, tomorrow we are not in love. Some people hold on to this stuff and later use it as revenge. So take your own personal safety seriously. But also the red flag for me here is men that at any point in time, they are only thinking about their own selfish needs above your safety.
Right.
There are men, I've been with men that, sometimes in the heat of the moment, you are trying to get freaky, some crazy ideas come. I've been with men that they shut it down immediately to say, hey, I can't safeguard this, and I care about if this ever comes out, hey, this will not look good, right? So you need to, as for the red flags, there are plenty, but also have to take your own personal safety seriously.
Okay. Well, Amma, and I would also want you to, touch on that one briefly as well, so we can move.
I think that I always say that while I try to work on my overthinking, this is another thing that my overthinking would have saved me from. You see, because I would think through so many things. I'm like, now me didn't check on you now there's somebody I've not seen before. Even somebody I'm in a relationship with, I want you to give me your test results before I even kiss you. I'm like that. So I'm not judging anybody who would do a one-night stand, but I've always wondered, how are you able to do that? Like, are you not concerned? There's so many things that you cannot verify in that moment. Even people you're in relationship with, they're not necessarily safe. And it is when they show you that they are not safe, that is when you will find out they are not safe. So the common thing is pay attention to your intuition. But if you don't have if your nervous system is not regulated, then you cannot even trust your intuition at that moment. But be mindful. Though some people meet somebody first, they hit it off and they end up married, have a beautiful life, that may not be your story. Do not run with the perception that white people are more romantic and nicer, because this is a very common perception out there. So some women, because they've suffered a few heartbreaks with their fellow, Ghanaian or African man, they always think the foreigner would be better. The grass is not always green on the other side. There are bad nuts everywhere. If you be let's be more conscious of our safety. Girls, please, ladies, please, both ladies and men, because there are men also involving themselves in this. They're just fortunate somebody hasn't taken a video of them and put it out there. No, seriously, go to the local beaches and you see them. Ife mentioned how we have a lot of young African men marrying their grandmothers. I'm not against the age gap relationships. I'm not at all. But these same men would not be with a Ghanaian or an African woman
That's at
of
that
that
age,
age group
yeah.
if she didn't have money or an opportunity to take them abroad and all that. They wouldn't be
Yeah,
with
that's
somebody
true.
like that. But they're being for certain reasons. These were the same reasons these ladies were also counting on when they walked in there. So, honey, be kind. Be very kind. You are living
Let's
in a glass
extend
house.
grace.
Don't throw stones.
Yeah, nah,
Before
so
one
briefly share
revengeful
your
woman
one.
decides to wear metal glasses to and give us
Nah,
evidence.
share your thoughts briefly with me.
I want to re-emphasize that meeting somebody one day and deciding that, you know what, I want to be with this person in this particular moment, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. So Efe and Amma and Nabia are saying that there's nothing wrong with that's point one. Point two, any man who means you well will protect you. And you see, aside all the things that Amma and Efe has said, your gut will even tell you. There's something that we all have, intuition, guts. It's now a later thing, but I'm sure if we could get all the ladies together and ask them, they'll tell you that but you see, our gut, we are humans. Your mind will always tell you. A man who values you will not meet you across the street and start sex. No, they don't. No proper man does that. There's a way they even go about calling you, trying to get your name. Men like to chase, but not chase like dogs. So this Farashia is not the standard
It's not the standard at all.
of a good man or a well-meaning man. So that is another thing. Point three, aside that, we should be careful also when we hang out at parties and events. Now our drinks, they do all sorts of things. I've learned so much from the Pelico case that it's even somebody who is close to you who can drag you and do whatever with you. Oh yes.
No front to my.
No
Baby.
front
So be careful what you drink, what you eat, even what you say. The kind of things we talk about before you realize it can be twisted and turned and used against you in a very horrible way, right? So aside taking note of tech, taking note of the spaces you are in, also do the I call it soft work. Do the soft work, how people are talking, how people are moving, what they are saying, what they are doing, and you just have to be careful.
Thank
And
you very much.
One.
Yeah.
Sometimes it will not be the same day. Some would go the long haul.
Yeah,
They
the
will
long
actually
haul, yeah, the
hurt
long
you and
haul,
all
yeah.
that just to do that to you. So
Yeah.
please use your phones. Google people.
Oh,
It
yes.
saved me.
Yeah.
So Google people.
Yeah.
Don't
Right.
always just take them for what they say.
Okay, so we've got a few messages here. Let me quickly run through them. So Kwame Tre from the UK says, "Good evening, AK. Interesting topic. Please, ladies, keep calm. I can see emotions are flaring." Says, "Please
don't
keep
do
it
that. Now
professional.
you're
Some of us,
offending me.
says some of us men stand with you, ladies." Okay, that's an interesting one. Francis in Accra says, "Hi, AK. Our ladies are not learning. They think a guy or a man should bear their needs. So seeing a white man, some feel they have seen a God-sent angel and will go at any length to have him. There are many good black guys seeking the attention of our good career ladies, but they don't see them as a match. This is what will be. This is what will be their lot if they keep their mindset towards some guys that could have been their God-sent angel in actual fact."
Francis,
I see.
who hurt you?
Why? Who hurt you, Francis? Well, thanks for sharing your thoughts. Though now we know what
have
to,
nothing to tell Francis.
what to think of you moving forward. But there's something that apparently we learned on Geek Squad yesterday. It says that there's an app that you can actually download that can help you detect hidden cameras. And so you go to Play Store, you type into the search space RF detectors, and there are a lot of apps to detect hidden cameras. So ladies, this is for you by way of your protection. I was going to say let's get a few words, but unfortunately we ran out of time. But thank you so much, ladies, for doing this with me. Much love going out to you, Ama Blode, who's media and marketing consultant and entrepreneur. Also, Amanabia Boache Dankwa, creative director, Bassinets and more. And also to Dr. Efe Plange, assistant professor of rhetoric and gender advocate. Truly, truly a good time with you ladies here today. I appreciate it. And then we'll get to connect some other time as well, okay? Thank you so much for doing this with me and have a good evening. My name is aKorfa. Show's produced by Mirabel Johnson and Anita Tay. Oliver Fanyo made us visible on social media. My name is aKorfa. Catch you same time next one.